Thank you, Ben. Good morning, everybody. It saddens me that we're here today in the very room where just a few years ago, pre-COVID, my firm and I celebrated with many folks in the legal community in Detroit for our holiday party. And when I think about that night and think about coming in here today and what it is we're having to talk about, it tell you the truth, makes me sick to my stomach.
Thank you. Thank you.
But we appreciate you being here. And I want to explain about the review process that Ben Crump just told you about. We don't have all the video. You know that. We have what you all have. So obviously, doing this type of work for Ben and I for over 30-some years each, you review it, we see more and more each time. Mr. Crump, as his co-counsel, has charged me with reviewing and hiring experts. And we're very fortunate because, as many of you in the room know, I've done this type of work for a long time, and I think we have access to and we know some of the foremost experts in a number of different areas. One of the experts, who I'm not going to name yet, but we've retained him, he's a police policies and procedure expert who testifies, who teaches police policies and procedures to the police all across the United States. And he also serves as an expert, sometimes on behalf of plaintiff, sometimes on behalf of defense. And we've already retained him, and he has certainly shared with us his initial opinions. The two that I'm going to mention very briefly before I introduce, again, someone that doesn't need to be introduced to this room, Dr. Werner Spitz, one of the foremost forensic pathologists in the world, is the body cam that many of you keep asking Ben and I about, and I want to respond directly. Folks, we haven't seen the body cam yet, but we're gonna. In a civil case, when we get up and filing, we will ask for the body cam. Mr. Crump and I are in the process of sending a letter, we call it a spoliation letter, to the city of Grand Rapids. They know what's coming. Keep all the evidence. And they will. And the Michigan State Police will as well, because they're going to look at the body cam. People ask us every day, right, Ben? They say, hey, tell us how the body cam could turn off in a struggle. And the answer is, again, knowing straight up, I haven't seen it yet. And part of my job, Mr. Crump's job, will be look at the body cam and actually touch it ourselves, okay? But I'm going to refer you all back, because a number of you were in the room with the chief of police on that Friday. Lauren, I see you with Bob here, because I saw you right on film. And he admitted something to you that I hope you all got. In order to turn this body cam off, the button needs to be depressed for 3 seconds. 3 seconds. Tell me how, in a struggle, while he's on top of our client is face down on the ground, that body cam can be depressed right on that one spot for 3 seconds. And we also know later on, it gets turned back on. So, I know what that suggests to me. You all are smart people, you can figure it out on your own. But again, that's one of the things we'll be looking at. Can I prove it with 100% certainty? The answer is no. But it's certainly important information that we now know since we've reviewed this material over and over again. Next, Mr. Crump has told me, in this case, in every civil case, ladies and gentlemen, this is called a wrongful death, police misconduct, excessive force, civil rights, call it whatever you want. It goes by all those names and more. But in every single civil case like this, the burden of proof is on these two. And Ms. Hatchett and Maddie Sinkovich is in the back of the room. I want to thank them for being here, and their entire team, Liza Dodson and Maria Reyna, Danielle Asplin, thank you. Chris Desmond. So we have the burden of proof. So folks say, well then, haven't they done an autopsy? Answer, yes. The Kent County Medical Examiner has done an autopsy. And I'm here to tell you something that I think you know, I hope you know. They knew Patrick died that day the second they saw his body of a gunshot wound to the head. But it's not just the examination that Dr. Spitz will share with you about. They obviously also do a toxicology study, where they run studies on the blood because they want to see whether there's alcohol, drugs, etc. in the system. Dr. Spitz did not do a toxicology exam because by the time, obviously, he was given access to Patrick's body, those days were long over, and I won't get more graphic than that. We don't have that report yet. We're in the process of asking for that report, and we'll see whether we get it or whether we get the excuse that they're only going to give it to the Michigan State Police. We'll update you about that later. But so why an independent autopsy? And the answer is we don't know for sure, other than we know Patrick died of a gunshot wound to the head. We know that that's going to be the conclusion of the Kent County medical examiner. But as you all may know, Patrick and his family have a funeral on Friday. So our opportunity to have our expert of our choosing to do an autopsy obviously closes pretty quickly. So when Ben Crump asked me, then I don't want you just to hire one of the best forensic pathologists in the country. I want you hiring two. So I did. Didn't have to look very far. Dr. Werner Spitz is by far, I believe, the most foremost renowned forensic pathologist in our country. And by the way, believe it or not, guys, our world. And you'll hear that from other experts. We also hired Dr. Michael Baden, B as in boy, A-D-E-N. Many of you know Dr. Baden's name as well. Much like Dr. Spitz, Dr. Baden has been all over in the biggest cases that I'll share with you a couple about from Dr. Spitz. Dr. Michael Baden is from New York, and Dr. Baden agreed with me and Ben that when Dr. Spitz said he was available to do the independent autopsy, no reason for Dr. Baden to come to Michigan to do the same thing that Dr. Werner Spitz, who's probably done more autopsies than Dr. Baden, again, Dr. Baden's done a lot too. So we've had two of those folks already involved in this case because it is our burden of proof to prove to a civil jury what killed Patrick. So a lot of folks don't get that in the background. They wonder why we do this. That's why. Dr. Spitz, as those of you that are from our area know, he has been doing this type of work for longer than actually I've been alive. And I've had the pleasure of using Dr. Spitz as an expert in these types of cases and others. I've had the displeasure of having him be the expert on the other side. So obviously, I want him on my team. Dr. Spitz was, as many of you know, was involved in the investigations of President Kennedy, of Martin Luther King, in jumping forward into more of the recent past in the O.J. Simpson criminal case, Casey Anthony criminal case, Michael Jackson, I believe, criminal and civil case, I believe, and many, many, many more. Dr. Spitz is board certified in not just forensic pathology, you all know, I hope. Forensic pathology is the study of exactly how someone dies, if you will, but especially by trauma. He's also board certified in other areas that will become more important as part of the civil case. So when we called up Dr. Spitz last week, we retained him, and thanks to Diana Lucky, his assistant, he went to Grand Rapids and did an independent autopsy at the Gillespie Funeral Home in Grand Rapids. And again, that's standard protocol for a situation like this. Dr. Spitz then did a preliminary investigation. He shared his initial thoughts with us, and even before it started, Ben Crump said, we need to share it so that everybody knows, because you all are calling, and more power to you. We appreciate, obviously, you want to know the science, and we brought you the scientists to talk about that. So Dr. Spitz has some drawings. I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Crump. He brought a model to show you the significant part of his findings and why. And before we talk about that, you all know, because you've covered criminal cases like this, civil cases like this is said and done with the utmost respect for Patrick and his family. God forbid that any one of us in this room ever would have to listen to someone describe what Dr. Spitz has to. So I just wanted to give a shout out, obviously, to our clients, and I turn it, thank you, Mr. Crump, back to Ben.